everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for 15 with Fallon. We are going to talk about down payment assistance in ways that you can get your buyers into a home now without them having to save up for a down payment or go through their savings. Because as we know in this industry, a lot of times it's nice to have money in the bank. So maybe they don't want to drain all of that in order to purchase the house. So if you've never joined us before, what we do here is we do short, quick 15-minute phone calls that are designed for real estate agents to keep you on top of different tips and strategies and tricks that'll help you get to the closing table, get more buyers, and be more successful. So this is a topic that comes up a lot because I get a lot of applications for people who they qualify. They have the credit score, they have the debt to income ratio. The only issue is that they do not have a down payment. So we're going to go over some options for you, and these will be talking points. And you've probably heard of some of these before. You probably used some of these options before, but I think it's good to have a refresher to go over what the buyers could potentially do or save for and what's possible. So let's start off with some loan programs that already exist with 0% down. So you have your VA loan, which is a 0% down loan. Now, the problem is not everyone qualifies for a VA loan. You have to be active military, veteran, or surviving spouse. There are very specific guidelines. So that does knock out quite a bit of the population. And then we have the USDA loan, also known as a rural development loan. We're a little bit more well-versed here in Louisiana and Mississippi with the USDA loan than some other states, because we do have some rural development areas. Now, there are some restrictions with this as well. One is the debt to income ratio is a little bit more limited, and also not every address is going to qualify. Typically, if it's in a larger city, that it won't be eligible. So if you're in New Orleans, Metairie, Lafayette, Shreveport, those bigger cities, it's a little more difficult unless you go into the outskirts of the city to qualify. So those are two great options, but it doesn't always work. So what else do we have here? So we have what's considered a low down payment loan type. Now, for this loan type, we do know about conventional loans. Some people just believe that you need 20% down in order to do a conventional loan, and that's absolutely not the case. Let me give you some statistics. So it is 41% of people that have not purchased a home before believe that you need 20% down to purchase the home. That's crazy to us, because we see it all the time, right? You as an agent, me as a lender, but the education is not there for some of these first-time home buyers. So when you talk to a lead or talk to someone in your sphere or a friend and they say, yeah, I'm looking to purchase, but I'm going to wait a little while, I'm saving up for a down payment, you may want to ask them, do you know what loan type you're going with? Have you spoke to anyone? How much of a down payment are you looking to save up? Because they may say, I have 10% right now, but you don't have to wait for the 20%. They may be able to pull the trigger right now, get into the house, start building equity, and start gaining the appreciation. Because remember, a house that is worth $200,000 today, next year at this time, it may be worth $220,000. So it'll be a lot more difficult to get in then if the house is appreciated that much. So why not try to do it now and then be a part of that appreciation and gain that 20,000, just as an example. So 27% of people that have not purchased a house, their biggest holdback is the fact of the down payment. 27% of people have not purchased because of the down payment. And as we're talking about right now, there are options for them. So this will hopefully create those conversations for you with your buyers. So if none of those loan types work and they don't have, funds for maybe a 3% down payment for a conventional loan, or a 3.5% down payment for an FHA loan, then there are other options. One of them being Gifting. So this is something we talk about. I talk with the buyers about it pretty regularly. They don't have the funds. Sometimes there's a family member, a mom or a child that may want to gift them funds to get them in the house. It's not always the case, but it is very helpful. If you have a buyer that is talking about getting gift funds, make sure you have them start the pre-approval process early on, because there is a very specific way that they will need to get those funds transferred to them. Dad can't just give them a stack of cash and say, hey, here's to help with the down payment, and they put it in their bank and they're able to use it. That's not how it works. You do have to source the funds. So make sure they're speaking with someone that's well-versed in gifting to make sure that process goes well. Now, let's say they do have some funds for down payment, or they're able to qualify for a VA or a USDA loan, but they don't have closing costs. Well, you and I both know that there's such thing as seller concessions. This is also something that buyers are unaware of. So they may believe they have to come up with this as well, and that's also holding them back. So you may want to have a conversation with them. Sometimes you're able to negotiate these seller concessions into the deal. Now, I'm not sure what y'all are seeing out there, but I will tell you that many of the contracts that I've been getting lately, they do have seller concessions on it. That tells me that right now, sellers are willing to negotiate. So that makes it a really good time for a buyer to get in, be able to get maybe some of those closing costs covered, and have, you know, a better value where they're not going into a bidding war with a bunch of other buyers at the same time. Now, remember, if you watch my videos, you will know that I've been saying this for a while now. As rates go down, it's going to be harder and harder for buyers to get into homes, because it will cause competition. So anyone who's saying, I'm just going to wait till rates come down, just make sure you warn them that there may be more competition that may increase the value of the home. So they may be paying more for the exact same house. So try to get in now. You can always refinance the rate later. That's just my little soapbox for today. So we talked about gifting, we talked about seller concessions. An option that we don't talk about very often, and it's not as popular, but it's something worth throwing out there, is a rent to own type scenario. Now, for the agent, I know that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get that commission right away, but it does help get your buyer into a house, or maybe get your seller some kind of income coming in to cover that mortgage that they're paying if they're having some trouble selling the house or it's taking a while. If you do go this route, I would say definitely speak with your broker and make sure that you're maybe working in some verbiage into that agreement, where when they do sell it eventually to that buyer, that maybe you'll get your commission then. So that way, all your hard work is not for no reason. So that's just a little tip there. And now for what you've all come on the call for today, we're talking about down payment assistance. So what is down payment assistance? It's basically a program that helps provide home buyers with funds to cover the upfront costs of purchasing a home. So that could be funds to cover the down payment or closing costs, or in some cases, both. Okay, these funds are typically given in either a grant form or sometimes a loan that is repayable over time. So there are different versions of a down payment assistance program, and we'll kind of go through a few of them. This is not for you to completely understand all the ins and outs of all these programs and qualify these buyers yourself. This is just for you to know and have an understanding of what's out there. So that way, when you do come across a scenario that you think maybe one of your buyer fits in, you can at least get them to the right place. So who offers down payment assistance programs? Well, one place to start is the buyer's employer. There are a lot of companies that actually offer these programs to their employees, and sometimes they're not advertised as heavily as you would think. So it may be something that the buyer wants to talk to their employer about. And on that note, there are buyers that are unaware that you can, in some cases, pull funds out of a retirement account or 401k in order to put the down payment on a home, to purchase a home. Now, there are different rules for different companies and different types of these retirement accounts, but again, definitely something worth looking into. Nonprofit organizations. There are nonprofits that help with grants or down payment assistance programs. So that's something that you can look into in your local community. And then more commonly, you'll see a lot of state and local government that will offer down payment assistance programs. And what I'm going to go through today is I'm going to go through two that are actually offered through Louisiana's Housing Corporation. They have quite a few different down payment assistance programs, some better than others, but the two that I'm going to touch on today have been very successful programs. And there's just a few things that I'd like to touch on so you're familiar with them, you know what to expect, and you would know how to write out a contract that involves something like this. So the first one is called the MRB Assisted Program. And what this does is this is for first-time home buyers only. They must be a first-time home buyer. But I do want to define what that is, because believe it or not, even if you have owned a home in the past, as long as you have not had ownership in a primary residence in the last 3 years, you are considered a first-time home buyer, believe it or not. So must be a first-time home buyer. This program does allow for a 4% soft second that is forgivable over 3 years. So what you'll find with down payment assistance programs is there is one of the caveats is that you do have to live in the house for a certain period of time for most of them. This one is forgivable over 3 years. So as long as your buyer is keeping up with the property and not late on payments and doing everything as they would, then the loan is forgivable within the 3 years. So that is a fantastic benefit for the buyer. The credit score would have to be about 640 or above in order to qualify for this. And there are income limits. And when we're talking about income limits for down payment assistance programs, it doesn't always just take into consideration the borrower or the person on the loan. It takes into consideration household income. So if there's a spouse that's not on the loan, they'll have to take that income into consideration. If there's maybe an in-law that lives there and has Social Security or any kind of income coming in like that, or even an 18-year-old that works and has some kind of income, all of that is taken into consideration. So just bear that in mind, because that sometimes will knock people out of approval for this particular program, but it is a great program. Another one that is offered by the Louisiana Housing Corporation is called the Keys for Success program. This is geared toward first responders. So your police, your firefighters, your certified teachers, your paramedics. It is geared toward that, and they've actually extended it into the medical profession as well. So if you work at a physician's office, dentist office, pharmacy, outpatient facility, nursing care facility, the list does go on and on because they have expanded this quite a bit. If you work in any of those industries, there's a good chance that you could possibly qualify for this 4% down payment assistance program. This one is actually forgivable over a period of 5 years. So as long as you're planning on staying in the house for 5 years and you're in one of those industries and a first-time home buyer, then you may qualify. The minimum credit score for this one is 640. So same credit score requirement as the program that I spoke of before. And this one has a household limit that has just recently been raised to $125,000 a year household income. So that it was lower, they just recently raised it. So think about this. How many people in your sphere of influence may be in one of those professions? This could become your niche. You could be the real estate agent for the hospital employees or for the fire department. You know, if you start talking about these programs and you can express to them that you understand some of the benefits that they qualify for, then I mean, that's going to be huge to them. They obviously are going to want to work with you because you know how they work, you know what they do, and you have their back. So if you want more information on the specific program, please reach out to me. We can get you very, very familiar with it. That way it's really easy to have these conversations with your sphere or, you know, people that you may run into and know. Now, with these Louisiana programs, I will say you want to make sure that you are writing the contract for no less than 45 days. Keep in mind that we have to underwrite it. We have to send it to them. They have to take a look at it. And a lot of times there's some back and forth. They want some clarification. They want more documents. But so you want to at least write it for 45 days. And also keep in mind that the funds are not always available for these programs. There are certain times of year where they may run out before they replenish. So just keep that in the back of your mind. And I know I'm getting a little bit over, but I'm just going to talk about one other program because I'm very, very excited about it. It is a new option that we just brought in, and it's an in-house down payment assistance program. The requirements are a little bit more flexible, so it does fit with more of your buyers. It is an FHA-based program. So typically, if they can qualify for FHA, there's a pretty good shot they could qualify for this. There is a minimum credit score of 620, which is lower than the other programs. So it kind of opens up that window for more buyers. And the great part about this is you do not have to be a first-time home buyer to qualify for it. So that will open up your options as well. You can also purchase up to a 2-unit property with this. Now, it must be your primary residence, but how neat is it that you could buy a duplex, you live in one side, rent out the other, and be able to take advantage of a down payment assistance program to do it. Very neat. And because it's in-house, we have a little bit more control over it, a little more control over the timing. So we're not sending it away and getting it back again and doing the back and forth. So it makes for a smoother process. Now, this one is actually an assistance program that you can choose a 3.5% or a 5% assistance. And that either covers a down payment or down payment and closing costs, depending on which one you choose. And this one is a repayable second lien that's paid back over a period of 10 years. So that means a very, very small payment. And the beauty of this is the regular loan amount that you would be financing, you still get to take advantage of that low FHA rate. And the only thing that you're financing separately in the second lien is that assistance. Now, that assistance rate would be 2% higher than your first lien rate, but still much lower if you think about it than if you took out a personal loan, if you're charging something on your credit card. Those interest rates are usually in the, upwards of the teens or 20s. So this is a very easy to swallow way to add a little bit more to your payment each month and be able to get in a house now and possibly afford a little bit more of a home too. So I know I went a little bit over. I do want to say there's not a lot of people, not a lot of realtors that are talking about down payment assistance. So take advantage of this marketing opportunity. We also have, this is a flyer that can be co-branded. If you want to put your picture and your information on it, you can send these out. Maybe there's some leads that went a little bit stale. You haven't talked to them a while. You're looking for a touch point to maybe reach out to them. This could be a good marketing piece to reach out with them with. If you're interested in this, please email me or contact me through 15 with Fallon, and we'll get your information and get these out to you so you can print them and use them out there. Other than that, can you see yourself using this program? I mean, I know that this opens up so much opportunity. So hopefully, maybe there's a buyer that you talked to a while ago that this is like a light bulb moment where it's like that person, I need to reach out to them again. I need to get them some information and see if they're ready to pull the trigger with help like this. So start thinking about that. Think of who can benefit from this and make sure you take advantage of it, and take advantage of it now. So I know I went over. I'm gonna tell everyone bye now. If you have any questions, just reach out to me and I'll be happy to help. Until next time, happy selling. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.